Damien ruins horror movies. Hey, we are back. Another episode of Damien Ruins Horror Movies. My name is Damien. And tonight, it's not the last Friday the 13th movie ever made, but it's the last one I'm going to do for a while. And it's the one that I've been dreading the most because I fucking hate this movie. And having just watched it, I don't hate it as much as I remember hating it. It's just this movie pisses me off. It's not as terrible as I remember it, but it's so misleading. And I was looking forward to it because it was that thing where Jason was always gonna, I don't know, it's kind of like how slashers, your iconic slashers always had their comfort zones of where they killed and all that. And so I was like, all right, we're getting away from the campground and we're gonna see him where he's like not isolating people and killing them. He's gonna be in a city and a crowd could take Jason out, but we never really get that chance. Maybe this will spice it up. Slap that subscribe button. Get updates for every time I post a video. Does it sound more appealing when I say slap it? When it's aggressive? It sounds like you're kicking ass. Or is me just saying, hey, hit like and subscribe whenever you feel like it. Does it make a difference? I don't know. I think people either like something or they don't, or they subscribe or they don't. They're not like, man, if only there was some way. I'm pretty sure if you subscribe to me, I'm not your first person you've subscribed to. Friday the 13th, Jason Takes Manhattan, made in 1989. I watched it, God, it was close to 9th grade, and it was pretty new at the time. I remember this movie taking place in a ferry. This last time watching it, I think it's the third time I've watched it, because I watched it when it was new, and I was like, what the fuck? And then I watched it a few years ago when I bought the box set. Because when I bought this box set, this is the last movie in the box set that I bought. Then I bought the other box set that's got Jason Goes to Hell and Jason X and Freddy vs. Jason. I think that's the whole thing. I remember it differently every time. It's actually a better movie this time I watch it, but it's still a fucking piece of crap. Misleading piece of crap. They're just like, it's like, how can we get some money? I know. We get to the ferry that I initially thought the whole movie took place on. But it's this guy Jamie and his girlfriend Susie. And they're kind of getting it on. And they're kind of not. And then he's like, as a joke, he's like, well, before the joke, he's like, hey, you should put the anchor down. And she lowers the anchor. And the anchor hits this electrical cord. And Jason is still at the bottom of that lake from the last movie because they're in Crystal Lake. So then, he disappears and she's looking for him. Right about the time that we, the viewers, see Jason come back to life. And she's looking around. It's like, did you hear that? It's like, Jamie, where'd you go? And then all of a sudden, there's Jason in the hockey mask. He's like, ah! But it's not really him. It's Jamie. And so she's like, what the fuck? He's like, I'm just messing with you. And so, I don't know. I mean, I thought, because they don't have sex. We get a little side boob from Susie, but Jason shows up before anything can happen, It's like, hey, cock blocker, you're a little early. Well, actually, no. Usually he's the cock punisher. In this case, he's the cock blocker. It's like, I'm going to kill you before you have sex. Like, wait, I thought I had to have sex before anything bad would happen to me. So he kills them. And that's where he gets his hockey mask for this movie, which is kind of weird. It's like, because the guy scares her, he's got a hockey mask, and he's like, oh, he puts it down. It's like, oh, we're going to have sex. And then he gets killed, and Jason's walks in. It's like that scene in Halloween 4, he grabs it, like, no, I got a mask. Like, you had a mask when you came up here. We meet Rennie. She's getting taken to a ship. Because it's like, I don't know, it's not really clear. It's like senior trip. But why everybody's there, she's like, I don't want to go. I do want to go. And the lady dropping her off is her teacher. She's like, I think you should go, but only if you're ready. Because she has this big, like, it's going to be in water. It's like, oh, I know, but it's this big water thing. But it's kind of weird because the lady dropping her off is her teacher, and she's like trying to act like, hey. She acts like she's dropping her off. She's like, hey, it's going to be okay. I want to get you pumped up and ready. All right, you think you can do this? Okay. And then like they both get out of the car. It's kind of that weird thing. You ever gone out to dinner with somebody or something like that where you're like, I don't know, this situation where you're like, you're outside of wherever you were and you're wrapping it up. It's like conversations like, hey, good seeing you, man, it was awesome seeing you, and blah blah. It's like, all right, well, fuck, I gotta work tomorrow. It's getting late, I gotta go. Like, however you wrap it up. Not because you necessarily want to get away, but it's time to wrap it up. So you're like, all right, cool, man, I got your number, man, we gotta hang out again, I'll see you later. Okay, see you later. All right, cool. And then you both start walking, but you didn't realize that you guys were parked next to each other. So it's like, see you later. And then you both start walking together towards your cars, and you're just like, that sucks. We just said goodbye, and now we could have walked all the way there. I don't know. It's kind of like that where it's like, I thought she was like her mom, and then they turn out because she does have a guardian. Her dad is dead, but the guardian, she's not the guardian. The guardian is the fucking dude who's there, and when he sees her, he's like, what is she doing here? She shouldn't be here. She's afraid of water. I was like, well, this weird buildup of being afraid of water. And they do kind of like a little head count for like everybody who's supposed to be on the ship, because now they're onto a ship, not a ferry. They're like, all right, everybody's accounted for except for Susie and Jamie. Looks like they're a no-show. But like 10 feet away is Jamie's ferry. It's like, well, maybe they're not dead in there. Maybe they're just oversleeping. Maybe you can knock on the door and give them a chance to come along. No? Oh, okay. Let's just go then. So the ship sails, and we see in broad daylight, Jason's like, I'm done swimming. Which is kind of weird, like how okay with water Jason is. But he climbs on the ship. And about that time, we meet Sean, the admiral's. He's the admiral's son, or whatever. Who's like wants him to follow in his footsteps, and is like trying to train him. But then Sean sees Rennie, and he's like, "Oh, you're here! I didn't know you were coming." She's like, "Good to see you." He's like, "Good to see you too. I had no idea you were coming. I brought you a present." And he like reaches into his pocket and gives her like a necklace or something. He's like, "You know it's coming, and you have a present for me?" It's like, yeah, let me. I got my Santa bag full of crap just in case like people show up that I'm not expecting to see. It's like, oh look, there's Todd. Hey Todd, I got you that baseball mitt you've been wanting. Whoa. I wonder. Oh, Derek's a no show. That was a waste. I don't know. It's weird. I didn't expect to see you, but I brought you this. I don't know. I guess in a romantic way, it's like, I don't know. It was introduced. I don't know, but Uncle Charles clearly did not want her to come along. Somehow, Rennie's in her room, and she can, I don't know, she must be like on a submarine. She's got like those little circle windows where she can see into the water. And she can see like baby Jason. Not baby, but you know, drowning Jason. But he's got hair and he looks normal. He's like, she gets all these visions of Jason. And the dog's staring too. So like her dog can see it too. And he's like, because she's like, oh, what the hell? Am I crazy? And then her dog's like, what the fuck? And the dog is all, the dog takes off. I was like, why is she able to see Jason's ghost or spirit? Or why is Jason out there? But at the same time, Jason is on the boat, cock blocking and killing people. He's just running around just like, bro. Because normally he waits till, I think I surmised at the end of the last video, it's like, yeah, right, usually his routine is about the last half hour. He'll go out there and start taking people out. But now he's like, oh, he's like, I got on the boat. I'm not being discreet. I don't care if you're having sex. I don't care what you're doing. If I cock block you, it's a fucking coincidence. I'm just killing motherfuckers. And that's what he's doing. And there's a chick, Tamara, the little coke girl, who's like getting ready to do coke, and she's got her friend Eva. What's up with Eva? She's wearing suspenders backwards, but she's wearing them that way the whole time. It's like, how fucked are you that your suspenders are on backwards? But Tamara kind of has a problem. She's got a problem with Rennie because she likes Sean or something. I don't know. She thinks that Rennie's getting special treatment, so she's like, well, I'll show her. And she, I think she did a little bit of coke. And she's like, it'd be funny. Rennie's afraid of water. Rennie can't swim. It'd be funny. And then, like, they're on deck of the ship, and she's like, oops! And just slams. She slams Rennie over into the... It's not the ocean, and it's not a lake. I don't know what the lake turned into. And I'm stealing this reference because I saw this a long time ago where somebody was like, I read a review of this movie and somebody was making fun of like, since when did Crystal Lake channel into a body of water that led to New York? Because it's not like they go from one place to another. But they're in a ship. It's like, there's no way this ship would be in this lake. It's not that big of a lake. I live near a lake that's pretty fucking big. I've never seen a ship in it. And she pushes her over and is like, yeah, get it? She can't swim. She can't swim. It's okay. Now what? Luckily her teacher's there and like throws a thing over. And then Sean jumps down and he saves her and he's like, no, don't worry about her. She's a bitch and blah blah. And it turns out I don't even know if that girl even likes Sean or likes Sean, or she's just a bitch. I don't know what her deal is. But it's okay because she dies pretty soon anyway. And Rennie keeps seeing baby Jason, and every time she sees him, he's a little more deformed. Like, he started out normal looking and had hair, and then all of a sudden, like, his eye starts like drooping down, and then the whole head, then his hair is gone, then it's like his face is melting. So I was like, why is she seeing Jason? This is weird. And it should be summed up soon, because I thought the point was to get to New York, not to dwell on this character. We already had the psychic in the last fucking movie. Come on, New York, New York. Sean and Rennie run up into like the captain's seat where it's being, where you control the boat from, and they see that his dad has been killed, and along with his co-pilot, and they're like, "Oh shit, he's dead." Oh, and I totally forgot to mention the Harbinger who had warned Sean earlier. You're all dead. He's back. He's gonna kill everybody. Which in this case is kind of funny because it's like, you're all dead. You're all gonna die. He's back. But I'm gonna go ahead and sail. I'm gonna take this trip with you guys anyway. You guys gotta look out. I'm okay. I am the janitor. But now it's proven true because his dad's dead. And he's like, oh shit, Jason is back. And my dad's dead. And immediately his gears start turning because he's like, oh shit, my dad's dead. But at the same time, he's like, hey, I didn't really want to be a fucking merry man anyway. I wanted other shit, so now I don't have to follow in my dad's footsteps. Fuck yeah, woohoo! But doesn't mean I'm not sad. It just means, blessing in disguise. So Sean calls everybody to the bridge because he wants everybody to know what's going on. So everybody gets rounded up. Uncle Dad, Rennie's Uncle Dad, is like, this is bullshit. The Harbinger's behind this. The janitor. He thinks that guy. I don't think that guy had a name in this movie. And he was like, you know what? We don't really give a shit. We want to be prepared and we want to get to where we're going. And so Julius is the boxer. And he just immediately makes plans like, all right, we got to do this. And he just kind of scatters and he comes back. He's like, I got weapons. We're going to go this way. Or we're going to split up. We need to stick together. He's just like, what are we doing? That guy's dialed in. Meanwhile, Rennie keeps having hallucinations, and dreams, and you can't tell what's real. It's like the more she has them, you can't tell if they're dreams or if it's like, is Jason really there? But it's like, wait. As they're trying to escape, because Uncle Dad is a Jason denier. He's like, the Harbinger, he's behind this. He's the one killing everybody. And finally, the Harbinger comes stumbling out. And the only one armed at that point is Uncle Dad. He's got his flare gun. He's like, get back. He's coming. And he's like stumbling. But he is kind of stumbling in a way where it's like he's rabid. Like he's about to turn into like a fast zombie or something. So he might, who knows what he's going to do. But then Uncle Dad's flare gun doesn't even work as he tries to shoot it. So he's like, and then the Harbinger falls and he's got an axe in his back. So I was like, okay, your theory about the Harbinger is wrong. The Harbinger is not the killer, which means there might really be a Jason. A couple people have said they've seen him. We're going to go with the Jason thing and get the fuck out of here. So they pull up a lifeboat and they all dive down and jump into it. Just in time for Jason to rear his ugly head down and be like, hey, I didn't know you guys had lifeboats. What the fuck? And they sail for a little bit. And finally, at 1 hour and 4 minutes into this film, they get to New York. And that's part of what pissed me off about this movie. It's like, really? Granted, this movie is probably the longest Friday the 13th movie. It's an hour and 40 minutes. I think the next one behind that, I think the first one's an hour and 36 minutes. So it's not a lot longer. But there is like part 3 or 4 or 5. It was like an hour and 26. Like, usually they stay, that's my rule for a slasher movie. A good horror movie, especially a slasher, is no more than 90 minutes. Now, if you're going 2 hours, it better be a supernatural. That's one thing I don't like about supernatural movies is you need 2 hours to do the supernatural movie. You don't need more than 90 minutes to do a slasher movie. You do more. You make a 2 hour slasher movie, I'm fucking checked out. I've lost interest. So you better have a strong first 30 minutes because if I know it's 2 hours going in, I'm not going. I got to hear a lot of good shit about that movie before I'm like, oh, I think I'm going to try this. And as soon as they get to New York, Julia separates from them. Then the rest are hanging out and they get robbed. And then worse than getting robbed, they get stuck up by these guys. The guys steal Rennie. This is weird. It's like, give us all your money. Give us your wallets. And her. You can't steal a person. Yes, we can. And they did. Now we're down to Teacher, Uncle Dad, and Sean. They're like, Uncle Dad's like, we should split up. We need to split up. We'll cover more ground and we'll see. It's like, yes. You guys don't even know where the fuck you are. Splitting up's a horrible idea. Yeah, cell phones. They're invented, but they're not even practical yet. Just stay together. So the guys that steal Rennie, they take her to like their little alley with their little bonfire and their 2-man homeless shelter. And they got like the syringe with stuff in it. And they're like, they juice her up. They're like, yeah. It's their date rape syringe. But before it can fully kick in, Jason comes to the rescue. See, Jason's not all bad. Jason's like, if he is evil, he'd be like, I hate sex because I'm evil and I don't want people to feel good. But at the same time, he's like, I hate rape too. He's like against sex in all its forms. He's not just like, he's like, to me, there's no such thing as good sex or bad sex. There's just sex, and I don't want any of it going on. So elsewhere, Julius finds a payphone, and he's calling the cops on Jason. And Jason somehow gets from that nook, and he saves Rennie. Because this is kind of happening at the same time. It's like, while that's happening, Julius is over here. He's like, hello, police? I'm new to town. I don't know. Jason bursts in, destroys the phone booth, and Julius escapes and finally gets to the point. I think they're on a rooftop. This is the part I vividly remember from the 8th grade because it was like, all right, somebody was actually like going to square off with Jason and put up a fight, but it just ended in like disastrously. Like from the get go, first was like he punched him. It was like, all right, cool, they're gonna fight, and Jason not hitting back. Then the way this guy gets out, because they show him fight a normal person or box, spar a normal person, and he's energized, he's in shape, he knows how to box. But in this, it's almost like, it's like, hey, you're like 50, didn't you used to box in high school? It's like, yeah. You should box this supernatural guy we got over here. Okay. Should I train for it? No, you're good. And the way he's punching, it's like he's almost falling. I don't know if he's like trying to exaggerate. It's like, I'm hitting him so hard, because they did show like his knuckles are bleeding. But it was just like, huh? Because also, if you're hitting somebody, like if you know how to hit, and you're hitting somebody, and they're not reacting, I would like to think, and they're wearing a hockey mask, and you think they murdered a lot of people. I would like to think at some point you'd be like, you know what? I don't think I can hurt this person. I'm gonna hit the road. I'm not gonna just keep doing the same thing. It's like, well, maybe if I hit him 300 more times, he'll go down. It's like, no, that's not how it works. It doesn't take 300 punches to knock somebody out or to stop them. If you can't do it in the first 50, you probably can't do it, and you need to get the fuck out of there. Unless it's sanctioned, there's a referee that you respect and you've heard of before. But if you're in New York, in a back alley, and you're just throwing blows at somebody who's not reacting, nor are they throwing back, here's an idea. Get the fuck out of there. Give them a final punch, maybe stun them, maybe not, and then surprise them by running the opposite way and get the fuck out of there. Save yourself, dumb fuck. And so finally he gasses out and he's like, all right, man, give me your best shot. And Jason's like, it's like his hand on the collarbone. There was like this weird like uppercut hook, and his head just flies off from his body. What? Which I remember that being Jason not grabbing him. Jason just like could just punch somebody so hard their hair would fly out, but their feet would not leave the ground. But it makes more sense if he's like, I put my hand on your shoulder, and I'm kind of pushing you down, and I'm popping up. That would, I mean, it still didn't make sense, but it makes more sense than I remembered it. I was like, what the, punch somebody in the head hard enough, and their head falls off. It flies that way. But then it gets even dumb again, because it flies off, it lands in a dumpster. The impact of the head hitting the inside of the dumpster is so hard that like the lid shuts. And then we catch up to the other survivors, Uncle Dad and Sean, because I forgot to mention when Jason killed the cop to get to the car, Rainey drove it trying to escape, and then she saw a vision of little Jason. She's like, oh shit, I'm going to run you over. And then she crashed into something and blew up the car. Well, she didn't blow it up, but I don't know. Her and her Uncle Dad got out, but like her teacher couldn't get out, so her teacher's dead. To her Uncle Dad and Sean, suddenly she has a flashback. She's in, it's not a canoe, but like a boat in Crystal Lake. And she's like, and she's with Uncle Dad. How long ago did her real dad die? Has she been hanging out with this guy for that long? He's like, yeah, you gotta swim. You gotta learn how to swim. If you want to be in a boat, you gotta learn how to swim. She's like, I'm kind of afraid. Which I'm not sure why she's initially afraid. But she's basically afraid because he's like, you gotta learn how to swim. Because if you can't swim, what if you fell in the water? He's down there. And he starts telling her about Jason. He's down there below us because he is. I don't know if he is or not, because I don't know, like, the year that this shit takes place. Because, like, now she's like, well, wait, she's supposed to be, because these kids look like they're in their mid-20s. So I'm like, oh, okay, they're doing, it's like, no, a senior trip. It's like, right, so these kids are 18 or almost 18. All right. So it makes sense. 1989, we can go back 8 years to 81. That would be So you'd be 10. She's still looking at that. It's like, oh, he's dead under there. I don't know. It's a sequence. So she's not really too hip to it, and so he's like, well, just test it. He pushes her out. And then she goes into the water, and that's when it shows as a kid, like baby Jason, young Jason's like reaching and grabbing her, which doesn't make any sense either. I don't understand why. Like, unless like she was like the only way to do what they were trying to do is to be like, hey, we adopted you because you're Rennie Voorhees. And they did some tie-in where like she's a sister, and then she would take. But it's like, why did you push your daughter in the fucking lake? And then it didn't work, and now you're like, oh, I want to keep you away from water. Turns out you're a bitch. You're a pussy. I don't want to. I'm like, huh? Like, because the movie's been secretly like, yeah, it's this water and this tie-in with Jason and all this, and it just leads nowhere. It's fucking stupid. And then Jason keeps coming, and then Uncle Dad dies. Sean and Rennie meet back up, and they escape. Sorta. They think they killed Jason, then Jason's back after them. He's gonna finally get down to the subway. He's there, they electrocute him. And it looks like he's out. Like, oh wow, same way you bring him alive, kills him. And they leave, and they're hanging out, they're like, well, I'm glad that's over. And they look over, and they're like, oh shit, there he is. And finally, they take him down the sewer, and the ending is totally different than I remember. I thought they like electrocuted him again and like fried the shit out of him, but they shot toxic waste at him. And the toxic waste just like fucking destroyed him. He's just like, oh. And it's kind of funny because this movie came out in 1989, but this was right around, I don't remember exactly when Earth Day started. I hear it started a long time ago, but I didn't hear about Earth Day until I was in like 9th grade. So this movie came out, I think I watched it in 8th grade, but like around Captain Planet, and everything was like ecosystem and like even G.I. Joe had like cesspool and the eco warriors and people shooting sludge at each other. So it is kind of funny. It's like, I didn't realize this movie had people shooting toxic slime at Jason using, the thing we're trying to destroy and get rid of and eliminate to kill one of the worst villains in history. I didn't realize it had that. I was thinking of electricity again. But yeah, that was a big thing for like 2 years. And like from like 89 to 91. Might have been a little bit longer than that. But it was like, because Captain Planet, that fucking terrible show. Captain Planet, he's our hero. Gonna turn the pollution to zero. But then Sean and Rennie just kind of walk away. On the credits roll, you're like, what? Because there's a lot of like, oh, you got him. No, you didn't. Oh, you got him. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. And it was like, oh, you got him. And you're expecting his face to pop out. And it doesn't. And they're like, all right, we won. It's like, do you know you're being filmed? It's like, you're so confident in this. I don't know. This movie's bad. This movie's not as bad as I remember, but not as good. This movie, I would have to say, would be the beginning of the end. Because I actually, honestly, I like all the ones leading up to this one. And this one's not terrible. I have that bad taste in my mouth from like the expectation I had from it 30 years ago when it came out. Where I was like, man, this is going to be awesome. So it's a time in my life where nothing was ever awesome, but everything was supposed to be. You're just like, this is going to be awesome. Yeah, it's not awesome. It turns out, well, you're like, fuck. Well, this is going to be awesome. Yeah, it's supposed to be, but it turns out it's like, I don't know. You hear that 5 years of adolescence where like everything was supposed to be awesome and it just went, oh, no, turns out, nope. What about it? Nope. And then you just never smiled. You haven't smiled since. The Badass Award goes to, I'm giving it to Julius, because he's a boxer. And he's the man with the plan. I know he died early, but he was the only one actually doing stuff. He found some weapons that people could use. He was useful. I mean, granted, he picked the best weapon for himself and then never ended up using it. But, I don't know. He was the man. You don't have to live to be the badass. And he wasn't a martyr and dying, but you got to do the most. What did we learn? Survival tales. Don't drop an anchor in a fucking lake. It's a lake. How far is your boat gonna go? Don't split up. Oh. And don't make shitty music. There's consequences. I don't know when the next Friday the 13th review will be. I do want to say, sorry, Justin. We're not getting to X in the next 3 months. I don't know when we will. We will eventually. I did watch that movie a while back, and it's stupid. I have enjoyed. It's still favorite franchise. This movie still sucks. Not as bad as I remember it sucking. Anyway, like, subscribe. I gotta go. These keep ending up too long. Every time I start these, I'm like, fuck, what am I gonna talk about? And then I look at the clock and it's like 45 minutes. Fuck. Now I gotta edit the shit out of it. And I got 1 day to put it out. 1 day to put it out. Later. Later, hosen.